Hi, good evening, and a warm welcome to all the participants. In today's webinar, we'll just wait for a couple of minutes to allow other participants to join in and settle down, and then we'll get started. However, we are going to use this time. It is not like we'll just be waiting for the participants to join. We'll use this time. We'll use this time.
Good evening and a warm welcome to all the participants.
My bad. The live stream has started, so the preview of the live stream just popped up. Just give me a quick second to fix that. All right. So we are good. So once again, I can see there are a lot of members who have just joined. So good evening and a warm welcome to all of you. And I was just mentioning that we are going to allow a couple of minutes to everyone to join in and settle down, and then we'll get started. However, in the meantime, I'm going to share with you information about few important points or frequently asked questions. The first and the most frequently asked question, despite the fact that in almost every webinar that I do towards the starting, I tend to share that information. And that is, will we get the recording of this session? The answer is absolutely yes, you will get the recording of this session. So don't worry on that. The email ID that you have used to join today's session, on that email ID, you'll get the recording, right? So don't worry on that. The second question is related to participation in this webinar. And as you may have already guessed now, or you have already seen now, that this is a webinar format. So unlike a typical Zoom meeting where you have the liberty of unmuting yourself whenever something is not clear, or if you would want to ask the question, you can't do all that here, right? You may have already seen that. So that leads to the second question, that how are you going to ask your questions then? For that, you are going to use a feature which is called Q&A. So if you're joining through laptop or desktop, what you can do is you can look down below in the navigation bar, and if it is auto hidden, then you can hover your cursor and then it will come back. And that's where you'll see there's an option which says Q&A. You have to use that option to ask your question. I'm going to repeat that because many times participants get confused, and what they do is that they ask or they input your question in the chat. We are also going to use the chat feature, but we are going to use it for a slightly different thing. But for questions or anything that you would want to ask me and you want a response from me, for that you have to put that in Q&A. I hope that is clear. It will be down below in your navigation. If you're joining through laptop or desktop, if you're joining through a smart device, in that case, it will be in the navigation. So you use Q&A. And because webinars is something that many of us had been attending, so this is not a unusual thing that you have to do. Okay, all right. So I also mentioned about chats. What are we going to use the chat for? So chat is going to be used for our interaction. So if there's anything which I want to understand from you, what is your understanding of that particular item or a particular topic, or I want to seek your feedback, or if there's anything I need your suggestions on. So for that, we are going to use chat. That is one use of chat. Chat will also be used for another very interesting thing, and that is for networking. Now, for a moment, if you imagine that we had been all together in a large conference hall in a five-star. Now, in addition to listening to me, whatever I am going to share with you, what is the other thing that you would have done? Just imagine for a second, and you can let me know what you would have done in the chat. So I'm going to place the chat in the other monitor so that I have a continuous visibility on that. And I can see there's a participant who has already started using the feature of the chat. So any thoughts, any suggestions? Had we been meeting in person and in a conference or a physical webinar, then what is the other thing other than obviously listening to me as an expert, whatever I am saying, or whosoever is the expert, whatever they are saying? In addition to that, what is the next thing that you would have done? Any thoughts? So you can let me know in the chat. I have the chat open on the other monitor, including Q&A. So I'll try to answer the Q&As as well. So if it is possible for me to answer the Q&A, I'll do that right away. But if it is not possible, we'll take up the questions towards the end of the session. That takes me to the third and the last question. But before that, networking is the thing that we would have done, right? So if you're going to an event, if you're going to a webinar, if you're going to a conference, obviously understanding or absorbing the rich information which the panelists or speakers are going to share. In addition to that, very important thing that you can do in any gathering is networking. And you can do it in this virtual format as well. What you can do is you can share information about your business. What is your business? Where are you situated? What product or services do you offer? Then what are your contact details, your website, your phone, email ID? And if there is a requirement, and most of the businesses do have a requirement. So if you have a requirement, you can share that also in the chat. And that is the second use of chat. Now, moving on to the third question, although I've already answered that question, but I'm going to repeat that for everyone's benefit of understanding. And what is that? That is related to questions, and that is uh, if you're not answering your question right away, when are you going to answer? So towards the end of the session, we'll dedicate 15-20 minutes, and that's where we will answer all your question, which I'm not able to answer right away, right? So I'll try to answer. If there's the question is related to whatever I'm explaining, then certainly I'll answer that question straight away, right away. But if that question is not related to that, so in that case, I will answer that question in the Q&A round that we'll do towards the end of the session. All right. So I think we have spent enough of your valuable time doing this journal discussion. And I can imagine you must be getting really bored by now. So let's quickly get started. And as I'm starting to share my screen, let me share a quick introduction about myself. My name is Adnan. I'm Director SME e-commerce growth at GlobalLinker. So my functional or my focus area at GlobalLinker is, of course, digital commerce. But in addition to that, I actively work on sharing information with business owners on how they can leverage or use digital technology to grow their business in this new normal that we all live in. And I think unanimously, all of us will agree that digital is the way forward. But how to use digital, although like ONDC is in existence for almost 2 years now, but still we are like discussing how to list on ONDCs, and that's where you can understand there is a gap. There's a huge gap if you actually look at there are so many technology solutions which are available, but how many of us actually know how to use them? And that's where the gap lies, and that's where we try our best to share as much information as possible so that business owners can use the right tools to grow their business. And as part of that endeavor, I have conducted more than 500 such sessions and had the wonderful opportunity of connecting, networking, and engaging with about 12,000 business owners from various countries such as India, Philippines, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Kenya, etc. All right, so that is a brief introduction about myself. As I mentioned, I'm going to start sharing my screen and we will proceed ahead. Now, we will be doing today's session in sort of a hybrid format. And by hybrid, I mean that I will be using a mix of presentation and live walkthrough, because presentation, obviously, it tend to become very boring. So we'll be using presentation to understand certain aspects which otherwise will be slightly difficult to understand without a visual cue. So we'll use presentation for that. And obviously the objective is to understand how to list on ONDC. What is the step-by-step process? So that's where I will be doing a live demonstration. All right, so this is where we should get started. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Now, another important point as I am sharing my screen, and let me minimize this as well as the navigation bar so that it is not obstructing your view. And I'll need your first help, or the first assistance that I need from you is to confirm that you're able to see my screen. So you can let me in the chat, let me know in the chat that you're able to see the screen. So I have the chat open on the other monitor, so I can see that. So I can see Yusuf has confirmed, Prashant, Arnab. Thank you everyone for confirming that you're able to see my screen. Now, God forbid if the screen is not visible, if you're not able to see my screen. So there may be two reasons for that. One very common reason is the bandwidth constraint. So if you're connecting or if you're joining through a slower network, then there may be a lag. So you will eventually start seeing the screen, but there may be a lag. So that is one common reason. The second common reason, and that is something that we have observed happens with people who are joining through smart devices. So if you're someone who is joining through a smartphone or a tablet, so in that case, what we have observed in the past where participants were having issues and then we connected with them and tried to understand what was happening. So the app that they were using, the app which was there on their smartphone or on the tablet, that was not an updated app, and because of that the issue was there. It also happens sometime, but I've seen that happen rarely, because on laptops, etc., the software gets updated automatically. So that's where it has happened rarely, but commonly it happens with smartphone and tablet. And if you are on a good network and still you are having challenges in seeing the screen, in that case, there is a possibility that the app version may be outdated, or you have to just step out of the meeting, update the version and join back again, and that will fix the issue. So I just sort of sharing in case you're facing that issue. And when we'll go through the presentation, that's where I may not find time to stop and assist you. So that's where I thought it is better to already share the tips with you. All right, so this is where we'll get started. Once again, good evening and a warm welcome to all the participants in today's webinar, where we are going to understand about ONDC. Firstly, we'll understand what is ONDC, and then we'll understand how to list your offering on ONDC. So firstly, and I'll try to explain ONDC in a very layman's term, or without using technical jargons, etc., because obviously the intent is to not to confuse you more. So before I start my explanation, I would need inputs from you, that what do you think? What is your understanding? You don't have to be scientifically accurate. You shouldn't be Googling now what is ONDC, but whatever you think, whatever is your imagination that this is ONDC, you can share that with me in the chat. I have the chat open alongside, so I'll have a view, or I'll be able to view. So just let me know. Obviously, I'm going to explain to you in a couple of seconds, or in next few seconds, what is ONDC. But before that, if you can let me know. So what is, so Yusuf has already Googled online marketplace, Arnab. Any other participant who would like to share with us what is ONDC? And this where it is not necessary that you have to be absolutely correct. I am the expert. I have to be absolutely correct. You're not an expert. You are here to understand. So whatever you think, it basically opens up, it makes the session more engaging for you, and it will help you absorb more because you're engaging. So yeah, so Yusuf has shared the full form of ONDC with us. Thank you for that. So I think we should get started, because we have a lot of ground to cover. So ONDC, as Yusuf has helped us, is Open Network for Digital Commerce. That is the full form of ONDC. But what is ONDC? And first of all, let me clarify a common misconception or myth a lot of people have, and they think ONDC is a marketplace. ONDC is not a marketplace. It is a network. I can imagine I am confusing you more, but the first myth or misconception that I want to clear in everyone's mind is that ONDC is not a marketplace. In future, if they come up with a marketplace, that is a different story. But ONDC as such is not a marketplace. It is a network. Now, you are already more confused as compared to what you were there, because now I have told you it is a network. Now you must be imagining what is this network, how it is working. So a very simple and daily life example that we can use to understand the working of ONDC is email. All of us use email, right? Now, I may be using Google, and Arnab here may be using Yahoo, and Yusuf here may be using Rediff. But all of us, despite the fact that we are using different technology, different organizations, different servers, and located in different countries, but we are able to connect, communicate, share files, attachment, email, everything very easily we are able to do with each other. He sends me an email using Yahoo. I'm able to receive it on Google, and I send a response to Yusuf, and he has a redified. He's able to. I'm just giving in a hypothetical example, but hope you are able to relate that we are all using different technologies and different solution providers, but still we are able to exchange email. How is this happening? I am on Google, and if there's other person on Google, so we are on the same network, we should be able to connect. But I'm able to do that with a person who's in a totally different technology, totally different servers in different country also, and I'm able to share an email, send an email or attachment within minutes. I'm able to do that effortlessly. How is that happening? Because we are all connected through a network which is called SMTP protocol, a network which is governed by SMTP protocol. You can obviously Google about that later, but that connection, that exchange is happening because everyone is connected through a network. And similar to that is ONDC. Now, we are sending emails on the SMTP or on the email network, whereas on ONDC, what is happening? The product is showcased and the buyer buys it, and then the information, the transactional information. So two flows are there on ONDC. One is the product information flow, and the second is the transaction flow. So transaction information coming to the seller, and seller's product getting displayed to the buyer, and then buyer making the purchase. So that is essentially ONDC. So on ONDC, it is a network that helps sellers connect with buyers. So it is that virtual network which is connecting sellers with buyers. And another very unique thing about ONDC is that unlike the traditional marketplace, if you want to sell on marketplace A, you have to sign up with them. If you want to sell on marketplace B, you have to sign up with them. But on ONDC, you don't have to do that. You have to just sign up once, and you'll be showcasing product across the network. So if there are 15 buyer applications associated with ONDC, your products will be visible across. If there are 20, your products will be visible across. You don't have to sign up 20 times or update your inventory at 20 places. Nothing like that. It is one uniform network that is connecting every buyer app and seller app. Now, let's go through the presentation, and that will help you understand it in a little better way. So this is where let's take a few steps back in the history. And prior to ONDC, just imagine prior to ONDC, if you were a seller and you wanted to sell online, then what was the option available to you? The options were you can create your own website and daily market it and then bring traffic to the website and start selling. That was one option which was available. The second option was to join marketplace. So list on marketplace, start showcasing your products on marketplace and get orders from there. But the challenge was that if you're building your own website and doing digital marketing, which is expensive, so that's where you have to invest heavily on the marketing. And a lot of businesses can't do that. Startups don't have that much financial resources to burn, or smaller businesses, they were finding it very, very challenging. On the other hand, you have marketplaces where you have to pay commission, and there were cannibalization practices also happening there, wherein if there were certain products which was hot selling, then automatically there were few newer sellers that came into the market and ate up the pie. And when the sellers later investigated, they found out those were the marketplace's own entities that were introducing those products. So those kind of challenges were also there. So in all, at that time, it was quite complex or quite difficult to grow your business digitally. And as a seller, as a MSME, if you wanted to grow your business digitally, if you want to sell digitally, that was quite a challenging scenario. How did ONDC change that? So for that, I'm going to switch my screen. And this is where we have a diagram. So let me take you through that diagram. So this is where you have sellers. This is you. Now, what you are going to do is you are going to create an online store on GlobalLinker, which is our solution. And once your online store is ready, that's where you will switch on ONDC. Once switch ONDC is switched on, that's where your product information, which is denoted by this black arrow, will go through the ONDC network and will start appearing on the buyer applications. Once it is visible on the buyer applications, that is where the buyers will review your product and they'll place an order. Once that order is placed, so again, the order will flow through the ONDC network, which is denoted by these purple color arrow, and it will come to GlobalLinker online store, to your store. And as a seller, you will process that order, and which is denoted by this red color arrow, and you will deliver the order to the buyer. Once you have marked the order as delivered and the return period, if any, has ended, that's where the buyer application will release the payment. It will come to GlobalLinker, and then GlobalLinker will settle that payment with you. So that's how ONDC works. Now, if for a moment, if we take that step back and try to understand with respect to the challenges which which were explained in this slide, that if you're creating your online store, that's where you have to invest heavily on digital marketing, or you have to pay quite a bit of commission. All that is taken care of, because this where you will get almost the entire order value, because at this moment we are not charging any commission. We may charge something in future, but again, that will be very normal. The other buyer applications or other participants which are charging, so generally around 3.5% is what is being charged. So which is significantly low as compared to what other marketplaces are charging, or what you may have to invest to get all that traffic and orders. All right. So that is ONDC solution. Now, this is where I'm going to switch my screen and I'm going to take you to another presentation where I will be explaining what are the prerequisites, etc. So there's the presentation. Let me refresh it. There seems to be some connection issue. All right, so ONDC enablement, certainly I'm going to explain to you the step-by-step process. But before that, we have to understand what are the prerequisites, etc. So there are store-level prerequisites and there are product-level prerequisites. Firstly, we are going to understand what are the store-level prerequisites. So once again, just to give you a background, this is where I am explaining to you, or I'm starting to explain to you how you are going to list your products on ONDC through GlobalLinker. Obviously, you have to sign up. If you have already not signed up, you have to sign up and create an online store. If you want to understand the process of creating online store, I'm going to share the tutorial video. Once we end the session, once we end the presentation, I'm going to share the link of a tutorial video, which can help you understand the entire process and you can create your online store. Once that online store is created and it is ready, that is where you are going to start listing your products on ONDC, right? So you have to firstly create an online store and then you will be listing on ONDC. And when I say online store, it is not like something virtual you are creating. It is your own full-fledged website that you are creating, which certainly you can use for your own digital promotions and your brand store, etc. Right? So it is your own website that you'll also be creating for listing on ONDC. All right. So let's understand the store level requirements. So this is where you have to add correct address and Google location. That is the first prerequisite. The second is you should have at least one integrated logistic enabled. You should be GST verified. Your account should be GST verified. You should add accurate bank account details and you should be enabling ONDC. All right, so these are the details, or these are the store prerequisites. I'm now going to take you to a live account and I'm going to explain everything. But before that, for a moment, I'm going to take you to a browser tab, and here we have the online store seller panel. I'm going to take you to another window, and I'm going to open a few examples. Because I told you that you have to create an online store, and that term may be a little confusing for someone. So I'm going to show you a few examples of online store, and I'm also showcasing the products which are also listed on ONDC. So this is an example of an online store that you can create. This is another example of online store that you can create. This is another example for another industry that you can create, right? So this is what I meant by online store, right? Now I hope the term is a little more clearer to you. All right, so now let's understand the step-by-step process of enabling ONDC. Once again, I'm repeating, although I may be sounding a little irritating that I'm repeating the same thing, but I've seen that sometimes the message is not clear to the participants. So before starting whatever I'm going to show you next, what you have to do is you have to create your online store. And if you haven't already done that, I'm going to share with you the tutorials which you can use to understand that process, right? So you have to create this. Once you have created this, then you have to do what I am going to explain to you. Don't get started, because then the system will show error and then you'll think, what kind of system these guys have made, it is showing an error? Because obviously you need a full properly set up online store, then you will be able to list. All right. So I hope that is absolutely clear with everyone, right? Now let's begin. So firstly, we are going to cover the prerequisites that we have seen here, or we are going to cover the first step of ONDC enablement. Now to enable ONDC, what you have to do, and if you are someone who has seen our tutorials or had participated in my previous webinar, you may have noticed that our steps were scattered across multiple sections on the control panel. This is the control panel of the online store. This is a demonstration store that I use for my training sessions or workshops. So they were scattered across, there were 4-5 steps, but they were scattered across multiple places. Now, what we have done is we have brought them together at one place, so that is it is convenient and you can do the activation very, very conveniently. And what is that place? So that is here. So the first step that you have to do after you have opened the control panel of your online store, the seller panel of your online store, you have to, in the left navigation, you'll see there is an option which says ONDC dashboard. You have to click on that, and that will take you to the ONDC dashboard. Now, it will appear in a slightly different way. The numbers will be obviously 0, and it will be on this stage. When you'll open the dashboard on your store's control panel, it will be this screen that will open up, not the other screen which I was showing you. So that screen will not open up. This is the screen which will open up. So before we get started, there was a point which was related to address and Google location, right? So I'm bringing you back to the presentation, but as an audience, I know it looks very disorienting when screens keep changing so quickly. So the first prerequisite was related to address and Google location. So let's quickly understand that, and then we have the other things here on this form only. So the first prerequisite is related to your address. So for that, you have to click on store settings and then store details. That will open this interface. Now on this interface, you'll see there is a tab which says address. You have to click on that. That will open this page. On this page, there are two things that you have to check. First is the address. So you have to ensure that the address is properly added. It is the correct address that you have added. And then your Google location. So Google location is critical, because if you're not adding the Google location here, or you're not adding accurate Google location, that will cause issues with the presentation of your product information. So that's where you have to ensure that the location is added accurately. Once you have ensured that the address and Google location are accurate, just click on save. Or if they're already accurate, you don't have to click on save, but you have to just ensure that the address and Google location, they are fully added. All right. So that was the first prerequisite that you have to do. The second prerequisite was related to the courier service, and that's where you have to click on courier tab. So in the same section here, we were on the address, and this is where we have to go to courier. We have to click on courier services, And here you'll see 𝐕𝐢𝐝 𝐻𝐿 So out of the two, any one. So you can enable 𝐕𝐢𝐝 or you can enable 𝐻𝐿. How to enable them, we have linked the tutorial videos here. So very simple process. You can go through the process and you can enable them very, very quickly. In fact, 𝐕𝐢𝐝 is something that you can do in 2-3 minutes. 𝐻𝐿, because it requires KYC approvals, etc. It takes slightly longer time, but you'll be able to do that fairly quickly as well. So what you are required to do is you have to switch on either this one or that one. Either of the two should be switched on. If they are not switched on, you will not be able to enable ONDC on your online store. So that is another prerequisite that you have. So those were the two prerequisites. Let's now move on and let's go to the ONDC dashboard and understand the rest of the steps that we have to do. So what I intended to say, or what I was trying to say to you, was that before you go to ONDC dashboard and you start filling in the details, etc., ensure that you have done these two steps, right? The first step was to ensuring that the address is properly updated. The second is you have signed up either with 𝐕𝐢𝐝 or 𝐻ipRocket. You have to enable at least one of them. On the store, 𝐻ipRocket is enabled. You can see that, right? So once you have done these two steps, then you have to go to the ONDC dashboard. So let's go there. So for that, we have to click on ONDC dashboard, which is here in the left navigation. In your sales channels, that's where you'll see ONDC. So you have to click on that. And this is the ONDC dashboard that will open up. Now here, obviously, you have to start with step number 1, which is enable ONDC. And this is where this form will open up. Now, if your business is already GST verified, that's where you don't have to do it. If it is not, then you have to input your GST number. You have to click on add GST number. It will take you to another page where you have to input your GST number, and then it will ask you to select one of the contact numbers of one of your directors. You have to get an OTP on that, and that's where your GST will be verified. So you have to verify the GST, and then you have to come here and you have to add your bank account details. Now, you might be wondering, why do you need our bank account details? What do you want to do with that? To make the payment to you. If you recall the process which I showed to you, so you list a product, it becomes visible on a bar application. Let's imagine, for reference, let's imagine Paytm is a bar application. Now, a customer who is on Paytm, they see your product and they place an order. You receive an order, you deliver that product to the customer. Now you need money for the order that you have delivered, the items that you have delivered. So Paytm will pay to GlobalLinker and GlobalLinker have to pay to you. How will we make the payment unless we have your bank details? So we need your bank details for making the payment to you. So, and obviously these should be your business's bank detail. So in terms of details, what you have to enter is IFSC code, your bank name, branch, account number. You have to type it twice. You have to specify whether it is a current account or a saving account, and the account number which is associated. And then you have to add the beneficiary address. If it is same as the store address, you can simply click here and it will get auto-populated. Otherwise, you can type it as well, right? So this is the bank account address. You have to input and verify your GST, and you have to add your bank account details. And once you are done, then you have to accept the terms of service. But please do read, don't blindly. A lot of us, when we are going through agreements or software terms, we simply just accept them. But this is where I'm requesting you that you should read it, because it is not a very lengthy document. So you'll be able to go through it in 5 minutes, and it will give you a lot of clarity in terms of how the payment settlements or what are the terms, etc. So please do go through the terms and then click on save, and that will allow you to go to the step number 2. What is step number 2? But before that, let's quickly switch the screen once more, and let's go to the presentation to see if we have understood or covered all the terms which were listed in the presentation. Let's go there. So address, integrated logistic, these are the two: verify GST, bank details, and enable ONDC. So you have covered all the 5 points. Now let's go back and let's understand the rest of the steps. So the step number 2, which is here, so automatically system will bring you to this step. If it does not, then click on map categories and it will bring you to the screen. On the screen, what are you expected to do? on the screen, you have to map your products to the ONDC category. Now, there are two methods which you can use to map the product. One is you can just click here and you can map the product. So for these products, you can see, I am not sure why it kept scrolling down, but I think this is happening because of the presentation which is open. No worries. So let's take this product. What is this product? It is a handbag. So just imagine that this is a product and we want to map the category. So there are two methods which are there, which you can use to map the category. The first method is we can click here and the overlay will open up. This is the overlay and we can select. So this is where we will select fashion, and so is where we have handbag, and we'll click on save. So that's how easily you'll be able to map. Now, this is a one by one mapping. Now, if you have, let's say, 1,000 products, then you'll take an eternity just to map your product. And that is obviously not a very sensible thing to do. So how can you map that quickly? So for that, you'll see there's this option, download ONDC category file. So if you have like a very small category, very small catalog, sorry for the fumble. So if you have, let's say, less than 10 products which you would want to map, so in that case, certainly you can do that manually, how I showed to you just now. But if you have a large catalog, more than 10 products that you have to, so in that case, I'll not recommend doing what I've just showed to you. You should do that in bulk using the Excel file. How can you do that? So for that, you have to download the category file, which is here. Click on that, and an Excel file will get downloaded. I've already downloaded that. I'm going to switch my screen and take you to the Excel file. This is the Excel file which will get downloaded. Let me zoom in a little bit because I can imagine it is looking a little small on your screen. So this is the file which gets downloaded, right? Now, how will you do the category mapping? So first thing that I want you to understand is that till this column, this is column G, all this is just for your information. The only two columns which are relevant are these column or ONDC category and ONDC parent category and category. And these are the two columns which are relevant. And here you have to fill in the categories. For example, smartwatch, electronic smartwatch, or fashion t-shirt. So you have to input the parent category here and subcategory here. Let's do that for one of the products. So what is this product? This is a handbag, right? So we have to, again, get the category. Now, how will we get the category? Because this is where we clicked and that's where there was a drop down and we had to just select the values from the drop down. But this is where we have to know what are the categories. So if you look here closely, and let me see if I can zoom in further and I can show you. This is where you have to use the link to get ONDC category. And there is a link which is provided. So you have to open this link and I'll show you which file will get opened. This is the file which will open when you open that link. Now here what you have to do is you have to select the category, for example, fashion. So we'll select fashion, and this is where we're looking for handbag because the product we're referring to is a handbag. So you can even do a control F, and here we have handbag, right? So this is the subcategory. So we have to come here and paste it here. And the parent category is fashion, which we can select from here. So we can select it like this and copy paste it. Right? This is simply, and because it is Excel, so you can easily do a copy paste. You can even apply a formula and you can easily select the category. So once you have inputted the categories, that's where you can save the file and then go back to the seller panel and upload the file from here. So this is the place from where you are downloading the file, and this is the button using which you'll be uploading the file, right? So that's how you have to do that. I'm not going to do that for the benefit of time, but I hope you understood the process. So I'm going to very quickly repeat the process for everyone's reference. So once you are on the ONDC dashboard, the first thing is obviously to enable. So that's where you're adding your bank details, your GST verification. Once you have done that and clicked on save, it will bring you to this screen. On this screen, you are required to map your product with ONDC categories, right? So my product is a t-shirt and it should be displayed in this ONDC category and subcategory. That's basically what you are doing in this step. Now, this can be done in two ways. One is you can do it manually, one product at a time by clicking on this icon, which will open an overlay, and you can select a category and you can select a subcategory like this and click on save. And that's how you will be able to update. The second process is in bulk. And if you have more than 10 products that you would want to update, then I would recommend that you should do it in bulk, because this is not a efficient way if you have a large number of products that you have to map. All right. So to update the categories in bulk, you have to click on this button, which will download an Excel file, is the file which will get downloaded. And you can open this link, which will give you the category-wise list, so that you can identify what is the parent category and what is the subcategory. This is the parent category on the top, and this is the category. So you can copy paste the values here and you can populate the file, right? So that is what you are required to do. So once you have populated the file, once you have added the information into the file, save this file, go back to the ONDC dashboard and click on upload ONDC category file, upload the file, and the category mapping will be done, right? So that is this step number 2. Now the step number 3 is upload mandatory data, which you can see here. This is where we have to upload mandatory data. What is mandatory data? So mandatory data is something that we have to add. So let's try to add it to one of the products. So this is where you can see data added, data added. So this is where it is already added for those products. So let's try to add for this product, which is a running shoes. So I have to click on add data, or we can click on edit also. Same thing. So we have to click on add data, which will open this overlay. We have to go to price and variant. And firstly, I'm explaining to you the manual process. So let me do that once again. I think I was a little quick. So just imagine that we have to update it, add the mandatory data to this product. So we have to click on this button, which says add data, which opens this overlay. On this overlay, we have to click on price and variant, which will show the various variants. And then we have to click on this edit icon. We have to do it across all the variants. And here we have to scroll down a little bit, and we'll see there are fields which says ONDC, add ONDC details. I think because this is inside an overlay, so it is not expanding properly. So we will just click on this icon and we will come here. I'm not sure why it is not expanding. I will get this checked, but I think it was working for this product. Let me see if I can show you for this product. Otherwise, I'll take you to the product screen, and that's where we'll see. So let's see if we can review the details. Yeah. So it will expand, in this where you can see the manufacturer packer name, manufacturer packer address, month and year of manufacturer, net quantity, and HS code. So this is where you have to input this information. Now, this HS code related requirement, it varies depending on the product. So for example, for all fashion product, HS code is required. For other product categories like grocery, or for beauty and personal care, or home and kitchen, if it is a branded item, then EN code is required. And if it is a non-branded item, any other unique identifier required. For electronic items, GTIN is required for branded items. All right. So this is where you have to enter manufacturer packer name. Manufacturer is the manufacturer of the product. And if you don't have that information, then you can add your own name, because you are the packer. So you can input your name as well. So either the manufacturer's name or your name. If you're the seller, then you have to input your name. So either of the two. Better to add the manufacturer name. If that's not possible, then input your name, your address, month and year of manufacturer, net quantity, and you have to select the unit from here, and then whatever is the required value. So this is how you have to update the information. So let me input that very quickly. So dummy, I'm going to just add month and year, 1 unit. So like this, you'll be able to update. And let's refresh it. So now you can see data added. So that means data is already added. So this is how you can do it manually. Again, as I mentioned earlier, if it is small number of products that you have to update, you can do it this way. But if you have to do it in bulk, you have to download this file. So you have to download it using this option, which is download CSV, which will download an Excel file. I've already downloaded the file, and this is the file which gets downloaded. Again, I'll zoom in a little bit so that it is bigger on your screen, and we have to scroll all the way to the extreme right side. So this is where you can see we have these columns which we were seeing earlier, your net unit, net weight, ONDC, additional code, manufacturer, packer name, month and year of manufacturer, ONDC, additional column. Now a trick that I would want to recommend to you is that before you download this file, update at least one product. At least one product. What will happen is that for one row, at least you'll have these columns populated. So it will be easier to understand like where will the unit go, where will the weight go, because otherwise what we have seen, sometimes people get confused and they'll add the weight here, unit there. So sometimes that mix up happen. A very simple and easy way to overcome that challenge is to manually update one product and then download this file so that you have the one row populated, and then you can update or populate the file accordingly, right? So you have to just feed in or type in the information here. And once you are done, save this file, go back to the seller panel, click on bulk edit CSV or ONDC dashboard to be more precise, upload that file, and you have added the mandatory data. So this is where we have done till this step. There are two more steps that we have to go. So then you have to download the attribute file. So for that, and this is the next two steps can't be done manually, they have to be done mandatorily in bulk, right? So you have to download the attribute file from here. And again, you have to do it in this sequence, right? So you have to go from 1, 2, 3. You can't do like the fourth one before the third one. So system won't allow it, and it will lead to mix up also. So you have to do the fourth one. So you have to download the attribute file, which is again an Excel file, which will get downloaded. This is the attribute file which gets downloaded. Now, what are you expected to do here? So first of all, if you are someone who is dealing or who has products that has variants, for example, a shirt which is available in different sizes or a shoe which is available in different sizes. So if your product have variants, in that case, it is relevant to you. If they don't have variant, then this step is not relevant to you. So what are you expected to do here? So you are expected to map your attribute values with the ONDC prescribed values for the benefit or for achieving better user experience. What ONDC has done, they have prescribed their own values, and what you have to do is to map your attribute values with the ONDC prescribed value. So for example, this first product that we are looking at, this is one product, by the way. So it is a t-shirt which is available in 5 sizes and 2 colors. So that's why you have 10 rows here. Now, as a seller, what are we expected to do? So firstly, we have to map the categories or map the ONDC attribute type. So this is color. So we have to select this t-shirt correctly selected. So we have to select the color. So this is where we have color. And then we have to select green. So we can type green, and we have selected that. So this is how we have to do it. And a quicker way will be to apply filters. So I can basically apply a filter on the color, and this is where I can basically copy it to all the rows. So this is where we have very quickly, we have populated all the rows. Now we have to specify the size. So for that, I'm going to select the size again using the filters. So this is where we have size, and we have to firstly select size is where I have size. So we'll select that and we'll copy that to all the rows. And then we have to select the value. So this is S. So this is not blazer. This is t-shirt. So this is not boy t-shirt, this is female. This is male t-shirt and size is small. And again, I'll do the same trick. I'll just copy it to all the rows and then I'll change the value. This is M so that I don't have to do too much up and down scroll. This is a very large drop down. So this is L. This is XL. And this is XS. So this is small, this is medium. Right, so now you can see the benefit why I copied all the cells, all those S values, and then I'm changing, because otherwise you can imagine that this is a fairly long drop down, and then for each row doing so much of up and down scroll does not make sense. So this is again a trick that you can use to save time, and this is going to be XS. Right, so this is how you have to update. I've just done that for one product. So this is where you have to update these values, and then you have to save this file and upload the file, right? So again, very important point that you have to note is that if you have products that are variant, then it is relevant. If you have product that does not have variant, then this step is not relevant. Now, there are certain categories for which ONDC has not prescribed, let's say, size value. So in that case, what you can do is you can input your own value also, right? So that is a choice. If you want, you can do that. Otherwise, you can leave it blank as well, and it will not cause an issue. All right. So what you are expected to do is to save this file once you are done, and then come here and upload the file. Important point, don't do the specification before you have uploaded this file. Once you have uploaded the file, then you can download the specification file, which I've also downloaded already. This is the file. And here we have to update the values. Again, ONDC has prescribed for each category, they have prescribed certain values which are required to showcase your product. If you're not updating these values, if you're not updating this information, your products will not be visible on ONDC, right? So this is again to give better user experience, or the kind of experience or kind of rich information which a user is typically accustomed to accessing, right? On different marketplaces, obviously, you can see how rich is the content. And if we are not sharing the same level of information, obviously, customer will find it difficult to understand the product and obviously make that purchase decision. So that's why richness of the content is crucial. Now, in this file, again, you'll see there are a number of rows. And again, here, all these rows are for just one product. You can see, you can imagine how many fields are there. And obviously, the more information that you're providing, the richer is your information and higher are your chances of getting the orders. Now, there are two types of these information heads. One is mandatory, which you can see here, and the second is optional, right? So mandatory is gender. So for example, gender is mandatory. Now, till this column, you'll see all the information comes pre-populated. So I haven't like populated these columns. They're all provided by the system. Now we have to just work on this one column. Icon is optional. That is used for slightly different purpose. So this is the value. This is the column that we have to work on. So gender is a mandatory field and we have to select the gender. So this is for male. The color is obviously, if we had uploaded this file, then color will not be here, but we can select the value, and size also will not be there. Fabric, we can select. So for example, if it is cotton, we can select that. Then size chart, we have to input a URL. Now, how will you create a URL? So for that, we have to go back to the control panel, and here we'll see there's an option called My Store. You have to click on that, and it will expand. The drop down will expand, and you'll see there is an option which says Media Manager. You have to click on that, which will open like this, and you can upload your size chart, and then it will generate a link. So I'll just quickly try to upload something. So let's upload today's webinar's banner only. So let's upload it in a folder. So I've created a folder. Now I'm going to upload it again. Why did we not see the image when we uploaded it for the first time? This store has many, many images, so it got lost. And that's why I always recommend that whenever you're uploading the images, upload them in folders so that they don't get lost. So this is where we have the URL. We have to just copy the URL and paste it here, right? Now, brand is open field. So for example, if it is the brand name is super, so you have to type that. So there will be drop downs where you will have values like these. So you have to select the values. Wherever the drop down is empty, you are required to type the values. So for example, care instruction, you'll find, sorry, for care instruction, there is nothing. So like that, you can type, and then what is the wash type? So it is light. Now weight, you can type, so for example, 500 GM, like that. So wherever you have a value in the dropdown, you can select the value. Wherever you don't have a value in the dropdown, you can type in your own values, right? So that is what you are required to do here once you have populated. But the important point is that you are adding information at least to the mandatory. Although my personal recommendation is that you should add value store information to all the heads which are prescribed by ONDC. But if it is not possible, it is going to take a lot of time. At least work on the mandatory sets. Because if you are not updating mandatory sets, then your products are not going to be listed on ONDC, right? So this is crucial that you are updating at least information for the mandatory fields which are prescribed by ONDC. Once you are done, save this file, go back to the ONDC dashboard and upload the file from here. So this is the option that you have to use to upload the file. Once you are done, your products will be listed on ONDC. It will take about 24 hours for the product to get listed. But still, if you feel or if you're not confident whether my products are listed or not, that's where you can reach out to us and we can cross-check and let you know. But here also you'll start seeing the count. It is 0, obviously, because this is a demonstration store, so I'll not be listing its product. These are all dummy products that I've got here. But this count will also show you like where do you stand, how many products are actually listed, and even across here, right? So out of 161 products, I've just mapped 8 of them. For 8 products, I've added mandatory data. Else, also, I haven't done any attribute mapping or specification mapping, right? And how many ONDC orders are received, that will also be visible here. On the top, you can see we have added 2 tutorial videos for your convenience. But obviously, those are not updated ones. Those are the older ones as per the older flow. We will be soon creating new videos as per this new flow and getting them updated on the dashboard. All right. So this were let's conclude this session for today, and we'll now break into the question answer round. So if there's a question you haven't added already in the Q&A, please do that. So while you're adding your questions, I'll very quickly take out my contact details and share it with you. So if you have any question, if you need any help, please do feel free to reach out to me. And I'm also going to share the contact details of our help desk so that if any one of you need help, you can reach out to me, reach out to our help desk. In the chat, so I'm firstly going through the chat very quickly. So there was a question by one of the participants about listing services like online courses, etc. So with regards to services, ONDC is coming up. They're like increasing the footprint and they're adding more categories, and services is something that will be getting added. So as soon as the services are added, they will be available. But at the moment, they are not there. So you'll not be able to list that. So that was a question I can see in the chat. Now, I can see there's a question by Niket Seth. Can't find my categories in my ONDC category section. So Niket, I'll appreciate if you can take a screenshot and send it over to me or an email. You can also mark CC to our help desk so that one of our colleagues can connect with you and try to understand what is the issue. But I'm hoping or I'm assuming that you have already enabled. If you haven't added your bank detail and done the GST verification, then you'll not find the categories. To firstly enable it. So if you have already enabled, but still you can't find categories, that is something that we can look into. So I'm going to chat to you my email ID as well as the email ID of our help desk. Please do send us an email. I'm sending you both the email IDs. Please do drop us an email so that we can look into it. So next question is from Shreya Gupta and wants to understand about a scenario wherein an order is received and you don't have that product. So in that case, you are required to cancel that order, but that is something which is not really appreciated because like any other marketplaces, it is crucial that the opportunity should not be missed. And this is where if a customer is coming and taking the pain of placing an order and if it is not getting fulfilled, that is something which will impact the entire network as well. So that's where if you are canceling more than 3 orders, then you will get delisted from the ONDC network. So it is crucial that you should fulfill the orders and you should try to keep the inventory updated. Next question is from Arnab about India Post. Yes, we are also exploring that option. Unfortunately, the commercial mechanism that India Post is looking is something which is not working out in terms of how they want to partner. So as soon as we are able to crack that model, they'll also be there on the platform. Yes, we are working about that. Agla, the question is in Hindi, so that's why I started speaking in Hindi. The next question is from Prem Shankar. So प्रेम शंकर जी, अगर आप अपने सेलर पैनल में जाएंगे वहाँ पर दोनों भाषाओं में वीडियो हैं बिकॉज ही हैज आस्क्ड द क्वेश्चन इन हिंदी, सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम रिस्पॉन्डिंग इन हिंदी. तो दोनों भाषाओं में आपको वहाँ पर वीडियो मिल जाएगा, आप वहाँ पर देख सकते हैं. Next question is from Ashish. So, firstly, for everyone's reference, his point or his question is that 4 months ago he created his online store and uploaded free products. Now, his question is, should he re-upload the products? So you don't have to re-upload the products. Those products can be listed on ONDC. So you have to just switch the ONDC on, like how I've explained in today's session. Next question is from Pooja Kumari. Her question is around the ONDC platform fee. So ONDC has 2 fees. One is called seller network participants fee, which is charged by the seller network participants whom you're using. So for example, GlobalLinker. But GlobalLinker at this moment is not charging any fees. So you don't have to pay anything to GlobalLinker. In future, if we'll be charging, that will again be very nominal. And the second fee is buyer finder fee, which is charged by buyer applications. But on the ONDC, the buyer finder fee is added back to the product value. So for example, order value is 100 rupees and the buyer finder fee is 3%. So 3 rupees is added to the order value. So 103 is something which is buyer paying for the order, and that is retained by the buyer application whenever they are doing the settlement. So essentially at this moment, if you're joining through GlobalLinker, you're not paying anything as the fee. Next question is from Shreya Gupta, wants to understand they deal in multiple categories. Should they list all the categories, or should they proceed with only one category? You should list all the categories and proceed with, understand, more the merrier. So the more products, the higher is your chance of getting an order. Next question is from Meher. Can we add bank details afterwards? No, you have to. That is a mandatory. Because understand, tomorrow you get an order, how will we do the settlement if we don't have bank details? But if you have to change the bank details, you can update it at any given point in time. Next question is again from Shrey. His question is around the dispatch. So the standard or the prescribed SOPs around the dispatch is that an ONDC order should be dispatched in 24 hours. Right? So that is the dispatch timeline. But like there are scenarios wherein you can extend it to slightly more, like 40 hours or 46 hours or the next day. But the sooner the better, because understand ONDC has a automated order delivery timeline tracking mechanism. Now, based on your location and the customer's location, system automatically tracks or calculates like in how many days the order should be delivered. So for example, if it is same city, then ideally within 2 days it should be delivered. So if it is not getting delivered in 2 days, that is where the system, it is an autonomous system, it is not controlled humanly. So autonomous system will create issue, and those issue will impact your ranking as a seller. So if you're not promptly dispatching orders, eventually it will rank, it will have implication, it will have make a dent on your ranking, and eventually you'll start receiving lesser and lesser orders because your visibility will go down across the network. So it is advisable you should dispatch as soon as possible. Like we have sellers who dispatch within hours of receiving orders, if it is working hours, certainly. So within working hours, dispatch orders. So you should also try to do that. Next question is from Mr. Juju Shredhar. Is there a guarantee for the payment? If you have dispatched the order, if you have delivered the order, yes, there is. Why would you not get an order? When you're signing up, obviously, it is part of the terms of service also. So next question is again from Shrey. What is the payment cycle? So payment cycle is if your product does not have return, and that is another wonderful thing about ONDC, is that you can control the return period. If you don't want to give return, you can set it to 0. If you want to give, let's say, 5-day return or 7-day return, you can decide it, right? So you have that. You are the product owner, so you make that decision. It is not like you are getting superimposed. If you are listing on a marketplace, you have to give 30-day return. Those kind of things don't happen on NDC. You are the seller, you make the rules. So again, coming back to the Shreyas question, and his question is, what is the payment cycle? So payment cycle, as soon as you have delivered the order, and if there is no return period, then immediately in the next payment cycle, the buyer application will disburse the payments. For example, just imagine that you delivered the order today and there's no return period. So the next payment cycle, let's say, is on Monday of the buyer application. So they'll disburse the payment on Monday to us, and our team will process it. So hopefully in Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll get the payment. So, but if you have to think of it like within a week, you'll be getting a payment for the orders, if there is no return period. And if it is a return period, then after the end of the return period, obviously. Next question is from Meher. Question is, can we delete the listed item? Yes, certainly, at any given point in time. In fact, from the ONDC dashboard, there you'll see there's a button which says list on ONDC. You can switch it off if you don't want to list the products, or for some for some reason you want to temporarily delist the product. Interestingly, this feature, we developed it recently only, and the story is that we have many sellers from Gujarat, and around Diwali they have this vacation period. So they were going on vacation, and the previous method, or the method that we used to have earlier, was a little complex. You have to switch off from multiple places to delist your product, which was a little cumbersome. So we created this new process, which is just a toggle button. You can click on it and you can delist your products very easily. Next question from Sulfikar Salman. Wants to understand, can we list existing online store to ONDC? Yes, certainly you can do that. You don't have to recreate it. Whatever you have, you can list it, as long as those products are properly updated. Next question is about delivery. So I'm not sure if you were there when I was explaining the enablement process. One of the first steps that I explained to you is around enabling integrated call logistic, which is Vamaship or ShipRocket. So you have to enable their services and you have to use their services to deliver the order. Next question is around global selling through GlobalLinker. Yes, certainly you can do that. In fact, in addition to ONDC, you can also list on GlobalLinker Marketplace, which is also part of your sales channel. In fact, what I can do is very quickly, I can show you that. So give me a quick second to start sharing my screen, and I'll take you back to the seller panel. So this is the seller panel, and let me hide this. So the question, by the way, was around selling globally. So here we have ONDC, right? You can see that. And here we have GlobalLinker Marketplace. So you can list your products on GlobalLinker Marketplace, which is a global B2B platform. So here we also have B2C. So it is, if you're a B2C seller, you might be thinking it is not relevant to us. No, it is primarily focused on B2B, but we do have an audience that does B2C business also on the platform. So you can list your product. Again, it's a simple process. You have to enable list your product, map the categories and switch it on. If there are any issues with your product, those will be highlighted here. So this is another challenge that you can use. Then we have a partnership with Federation of All India Export Organization, and we have a platform called Indian Business Portal. So I'll also show you that very, very quickly. So this is another opportunity that you have. So you can use this to list your product in front of international buyers. So this is another opportunity that you have. So let me stop sharing. Next question from Meher. What are the charges per product listing? There are no charges. You can list it for free. If the customer returns the order, how will it work? So if the customer wants to return the order, they will inform the buyer application that we want to return the order. Buyer application will initiate a request with us, and the request will start showing on your seller panel. Our operations team will also connect and update you that there is a return request, and then through the logistic services, you will initiate the return, and that's how you'll be managing the return. Next question is from Ashish. For bulk quantities, can we offer the buyer to pay in parts? That's something that you can do on your online store. For on ONDC, the current ONDC construct which is there, it is supporting B2C and it does not support bulk ordering. Next question, what is the traffic ONDC are foreign listings? ONDC currently is for domestic and B2C buying only. Can we integrate existing to ONDC? If you have an existing online store on GlobalLinker, certainly you can switch on, or you can list on ONDC. That question was also again from Meher. So that was the last question that I can see in the Q&A. And I'll quickly check if there's a question that I can answer. So I think those the questions in the chat are also the same which were listed there. So I think that this is it. So we will conclude this session for today. Thank you, everyone, for taking out your time. I hope you found this session informative, and you have my contact details. So if any one of you would want to seek personal help or you seek guidance, please do feel free to reach out to me. And I've also shared our help desk email ID and contact number. So if at any point in time you need help, you need guidance, please do feel free to reach out. I can see there's a last comment from Meher, videos available only in 2 languages. These are the 2 languages I know. So in those languages, we have created the video. But if there's a requirement for any other language we see in future, we'll certainly do that. All right, so this is where we'll conclude the session for today. Thank you once again, everyone, for taking out your valuable time and participating in this session. But as I always say, that this is not the end. This is a start of a long relationship that I want to have with all of you. So please do stay in touch. Please do feel free to reach out to me over the email and anything related to digital commerce. If you need advice or you are stuck somewhere and you need guidance, please do feel free to reach out. All right. So this is where we'll conclude the session for today. And there's a last comment. What is that? Please share the tutorial video. Oh, tutorial video, I forgot. Just give me a second. Although I'm going to add that to you'll get the recording and I'll add the link of the video in the description. But good point. I did mention that I'll be giving you the video about how to create your digital catalog. So let me do that very, very quickly. So this is the video of how to create your digital or how to create your online store. In fact, I'm also going to share with you the link of our YouTube channel. We keep on adding tutorial content or informative content, to be precise, on our YouTube channel. So I would suggest that you should also subscribe to our channel so that you have access to more tutorial content, more informative content. All right. So I've shared that link as well. So in the chat, I've added the video about how to create your online store and the link of our YouTube channel. All right. So that was the last request I saw in the chat. So this is where we'll conclude the session now. Thank you, everyone, for taking out your time, and let's stay in touch. Bye-bye.